ICP is a massive chain, and I believe that's going up because the technology behind ICP is so superior to every other chain. I mean, like what you can do on ICP, you can do on any other chain. For example, HTTP out calls. So the chain is actually not isolated. You can connect with the internet. You can connect with regular Web2 services. That's massive innovation. You have stuff like updatable smart contracts. You know, it's not like you deploy them and then you can't update them. You can do that. We have stuff like asynchronous smart contracts. I mean, there's so much stuff you can do on ICP. It's crazy. ICP is the only chain where you can run AI. It's the only chain that you can use to store data. It's actually very cheap to store data. Like the possibilities with ICP are endless.
Okay, Gastão. So you built the first lending protocol for ICP, which is a big milestone for the entire ICP ecosystem. So would you like to tell us a bit about your journey and how you went from just an idea to developing Lendfinity?
Sure. So it's quite an interesting story, actually, because me and my co-founder, Claudio, we are both developers. We've been working on the Ethereum space for a while now, and we didn't really know about the ICP chain. We've been together to a couple of hackathons before, and we saw an hackathon for ICP. Actually, it was the first one here in Lisbon, in Portugal. So we decided to give it a shot, and we went there, and we actually won the project. So our idea was, since we have an EVM background, we wanted to do something related to DeFi. Initially, we wanted to do a stablecoin, but then we shifted to a lending protocol, which was a great idea because actually during the hackathon, we learned that there was no lending protocol on ICP. And also during the hackathon, we learned about Bitfinity, which is the first EVM L2 for ICP. So the idea just came to us, you know, let's take this project forward and basically let's bring Aave to ICP through Bitfinity. So yeah, that's how we got started.
So I remember you told me you also got a grant from DFINITY, right?
Yeah. Actually, DFINITY, they have a great grant program, and the one we got was an Innovator in Residence grant from the ICP Hub in Portugal. So after we did the hackathon, we were approached by them, and they explained us how it worked. And yeah, we wanted to move this project forward, so we did what we had to do. It's a quite easy process. You just need to fill a little form and do like a Google Doc explaining like the milestones you have for like 3 months. Yeah, and then once you submit it, if they approve it, then you get your first half, and then when you complete all your milestones, you submit it again and you get the last half. So yeah, that's how it works.
That's great. So yeah, I think I will attach actually a link in the description for the people who want to also study what an ICP grant is and how to get it to fund their own startups on ICP, as you did. Yeah. I think that can be very interesting. So yeah, that's cool how you started out, because basically you had an Ethereum background, and so you use this background then to basically build on ICP on Bitfinity, and then, you know, this way you're contributing to the interoperability of the ICP ecosystem, which is great. That's very cool. Okay, and how is Lendfinity different from other lending protocols?
Sure. So the great thing about Lendfinity is that it's actually quite similar to other lending protocols. So as I said, we based our project on Aave. Our code is actually like a 100% copy of Aave, which is really good for security. But the main area where we innovate is that we offer a whole new list of assets. So if you go to all these lending protocols, I don't care if it's Aave or Zero Land or whatever, if they're on an Ethereum L2, they always have the same assets, right? So you have Ethereum, you have USDT, USDC, and some other coins, right? But they're always the same. And the thing we do different is that on our platform, you have exactly the same smart contracts, and it works the same way, but we actually have ICP tokens. So you can supply and borrow ICP, you can supply and borrow Chain Fusion tokens, you can supply and borrow an ICP, which is the liquid staking token for ICP. And we also have some other tokens that come from the SNS projects. So yeah, that's the main innovation.
That's great. So I think basically thanks to your product, now users, they can leverage even more utility from their ICP tokens.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. So if you're a long-term believer in ICP, like I am now, you can have your ICP in your wallet doing nothing, just expecting it to grow, right? But the thing with that is that you don't get an APY. You can also stake in a neuron, but then you lose access to your ICP, right? And you need to wait for, I don't know, 2 years, 4 years, even 8 years to get your ICP back. You can also use water neuron to liquid stake your ICP, and that way you still have the token, and the token generates yield. But the problem with that is none of that gives you leverage, right? So if you're super bullish on ICP, and if you believe that in, I don't know, one year, for example, it will go from, right now it's what, $10 to $100, let's just say, it really makes sense to just use that ICP as collateral, borrow stablecoin, and use that stablecoin to buy even more ICP. So that's really what we give to the user. We give the user a possibility to earn as much yield as you can with the ICP you already have.
Right. That's great. Yeah, I think you're building something very amazing. And and actually users are actually showing that, right? Because you're witnessing like a great adoption. You want to tell us about some adoption metrics about your protocol?
Yeah, that's a great question, and you're right. We've been seeing amazing adoption. To be honest, we weren't expecting to grow this fast, but it's great, and it shows that there is real product market fit. So in the first week that we launched, our TVL went from 0 to 300K. Then in the second week, it went from 300K to 1 million TVL. And in the third week, it went from 1 million to 3 million, which is amazing. It's really exponential growth. Right now, we're still hovering around that figure because it even went higher than that. It almost reached 5 million, but then the market crashed a little bit. So yeah, we're at around 3 million right now. We also have around 1,000 users that have actually supplied to our protocol. So yeah, I mean, to me, it really shows that this is something that the people on the ICP community needed and wanted, and we plan on keeping it alive and keeping it moving forward. Yeah,
that's great, because the product is very new, right? You launched when exactly?
Yeah, so as I said, we are working on the Bitfinity chain, and the Bitfinity chain launched on November the 19th, so around 1.5 months ago, and we launched exactly on the same day as them. So yeah, that's how long we've been live for.
Okay. And also I want to mention that Bitfinity closed a $12 million funding round led by Polychain Capital. So, you know, it's getting something real, something really big. I mean, something important for the industry, because Polychain Capital is a big VC, invested in a lot of successful projects. And, you know, this really shows the potential of ICP, Bitfinity, and your project as well.
Yeah, so, and I believe the reason why Polychain invested so much is because they see the potential for ICP, but they also see that ICP is quite different from the other ecosystems, and there needs to be a way to bring people that are on Ethereum and other L2s, EVM chains, whatever, to ICP, and I believe that Bitfinity is a great way to do that.
Great. And Gustavo, I want to ask you, since you are working on DeFi on ICP, how do you think that DeFi is going to change the financial markets, and what do you think the role of ICP will be in this transformation?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, we are already seeing how DeFi is changing the landscape, right? DeFi is not that new. It was a big narrative in the last cycle. So we've had DeFi for around 5 years now, and the great thing about DeFi is that it's much more accessible than traditional finance, right? You don't need to go through a centralized investment fund, for example. You don't need to register with a stock exchange or something like that. You don't need to have like a minimum amount to invest. It's really very customizable and very accessible. So you can be in whatever country, in whatever jurisdiction, as long as you have your MetaMask wallet, for example. You can start using basically online banking, right? And in my opinion, it's not just that it's more accessible, it's that it's actually a better product because, for example, for banking, if you're using banking, if you do a regular deposit, maybe you get a 1% yield on your deposit, maybe not even that, but on lending protocols, you can get as high as 10%, 20% APYs for stablecoins, for example. And it offers also like a whole new array of assets. So actually, if you want to do cryptocurrency, you can't do it through traditional markets. Now you have the ETF for Bitcoin, for example, but you really need to use decentralized services for more accessibility.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you also asked me how ICP is changing that. So on that side, I'm a big believer in chain fusion technology. You know, chain fusion is really about making cross-chain super accessible. And that's the great thing about ICP. For those that don't know, in ICP, you can actually sign transactions on other chains from ICP. So that gives us a whole new array of possibilities. And we will be able to, for example, create DeFi for Bitcoin, which is actually on our roadmap to create a lending protocol, a pool-based lending protocol for Runes. So yeah, I'm really bullish on ICP DeFi, and I think it's gonna allow for new products that we still haven't seen.
Yeah, that's great, because now what you can do with Bitfinity and also your product is that basically you open up DeFi to Bitcoin, and you can basically move BRC-20 tokens and other Bitcoin tokens to the Bitfinity network, and there you can use those tokens for borrowing and lending, and same thing on your product. So it really opens up the opportunities for users. Yeah. And yeah, as you said, chain fusion for ICP is very important, and I think actually one of the main strengths of ICP is interoperability, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Would you like to show us your product, your interface, maybe show us how to lend and borrow, to show the users how simple it is?
Yeah, sure, let's do it. So let me just share my screen here. First thing I'm going to show you guys is the markets page here. So if I come here to the markets page, as you can see, this is very similar to Aave. For those that have used it, it's actually not just a copy of the smart contracts, but the interface as well. And yeah, so the first thing you see here is that the TVL, the total market size, is 2.7 million. And of those 2.7 million, 640K have been borrowed. And then we see all the assets we are listing right now. So as you see, the biggest one is ICP. We have around $1 million worth of ICP. We also have around 1 million worth of BTF, which is the native gas token for Bitfinity. And we have some others, as I said before. We have the chain fusion tokens. We also have an ICP, the liquid staking token. We have some SNS projects. We also have gold token, which is kind of new. It's really cool. It's actually one of the biggest RWA projects on ICP, which is actually gold on chain. Really cool stuff these guys are doing. So yeah, if I come here and I click on ICP, for example, I have some more detailed information. For example, I can see that around 50% of the pool is full. We do need to limit the amount of tokens. So we need to put a cap on them so that the APYs don't get crazy low. We definitely want to make sure that there's a lot of borrowing happening compared to the supply, because that is really what makes the APYs grow and also makes the platform enticing to use. So here we have some other details like the risk parameters, like the LTV, liquidation threshold, liquidation penalty, and this is a big one. So we have the utilization rate curve right here. So as you see here, the optimal usage is 45%, which means that 45% of the ICP supplied should be borrowed, and we are currently at 28%. So we want to increase that, and then if it goes over 45%, we want it to go lower. So if I go back here, I can show you the dashboard, which is your personal space. Here you can see what you have supplied, and you can see what you're borrowing, right? So for example, let's say I'm really bullish on ICP, as I said before, and I want to do some leverage trading on ICP. So what I do is I come here and I hit supply. I supply however much ICP I want. So for the sake of this example, let's just do 1 ICP. I hit supply, and I get a pop-up on my wallet. I'm using Revy wallet. I'm gonna sign here. So as you guys know, this takes a little while, usual Web3 stuff. But yeah, once I do this, I have a higher L factor, which means I'm more collateralized, and now I can borrow a bigger position. So now that I have supplied, as you guys see, it was 5.5, now it's 6.5. I can come here and borrow ckUSDC, or maybe let me check. The APY is higher for the borrow APY is higher for USDT. So yeah, I'll just do USDC. I'll borrow some here. Let's say I want to borrow $5 worth. Signing again. Just wait a bit. So as you guys see, my L factor is going down again because I'm a little less collateralized. That's great. So now you guys can see this is the assets I can supply. So essentially these are the assets I have in my wallet. This actually grew by 5. So what this means is that I have more USDC on my wallet that I can go on and spend on whatever I want to. So in this case, I would probably swap this for ICP and then supply even more, so I get more from the APY. I just want to show you one last thing on the markets, which is, as you guys can see, we are offering crazy APYs right now for stablecoins, which is really cool. Guys, if you're not participating in this and you're in the ICP ecosystem, I would say you are missing out, so come check us out.
Almost 50% APY.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy.
So some of the other things we are offering is we have our own faucet. So if you don't have any BTF tokens to pay for gas, we give you some BTF tokens. It's as easy as clicking the faucet link and putting in your address, and you'll get some BTF tokens. We also have a link to our bridge. This is the Omnity bridge. They're a close partner. We really like working with them. And this is basically how you get your ICP tokens from ICP to Bitfinity. We also have a link for that. And we also have a link for our airdrop campaign, which I believe we will be talking about later. So let's save that for a later question.
Yeah, actually, it's the next question.
Oh, great. So yeah, I think I can end my sharing actually. So let me stop that, and I'm gonna, yeah, I have my camera on. Great. So as Fred said, we have an airdrop campaign live right now, and this is we have this campaign running because we still haven't launched our own token, which will be called the Lend token. So we are offering 15% of the total token supply for people that are already using our platform. So if you supply, for every $1 that you supply, you get 10 points. And if you're borrowing, for every $1 that you borrow, you get 40 points. Those are the main campaigns. And then the way it will work is that we will do your total points in the end after around 3-4 months, which will be the duration of the airdrop. The total amount of your points divided by the total amount of points we distribute, and then you times that by 15% of the total supply, and that's how much you get. So we are really rewarding the community. We know that in the beginning of a project, you need to really be involved with the community, reward them, because without the community, the project can't move forward. I mean, it only works because there are people that are supplying to the protocol and borrowing. So yeah, if you want to check us out, if you want to earn some Lend tokens, definitely go to our link at app.lendfinity.xyz, and you'll find the link for the airdrop there. So yeah, that's it. Very, very quickly.
Yeah. So I will leave the link in the description to start getting involved and start earning points for the airdrop.
Yeah.
And yeah, I also wanted to mention that actually also your community on Twitter is pretty big. Now you have almost, I think, over 12,000 followers in such short period.
Yeah. I just checked it. I think it's at around 13K, something around that.
So it's growing very fast, because I checked like 2 days ago and it was 12,000. Okay, this is another sign that the community around your product, Bitfinity and ICP, is there, and people are very interested about what you're doing. Yeah, and I will also leave the link to your Twitter in the description, so people can follow you. And and now I wanted to ask you, what do you think that we can do in order to really kickstart DeFi on ICP? Because it's like kind of lagging behind.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, ICP is a massive chain. I believe it's the 12th or 13th biggest L1 chain out there, and I believe that's going up because the technology behind ICP is so superior to every other chain. I mean, like, what you can do on ICP, you can do on any other chain. For example, HTTP out calls. So the chain is actually not isolated. You can connect with the internet. You can connect with regular Web2 services. That's massive innovation. You have stuff like updatable smart contracts. It's not like you deploy them and then you can't update them. You can do that. We have stuff like asynchronous smart contracts. I mean, there's so much stuff you can do on ICP. It's crazy. Like, you can do I actually just saw from your channel that you did a video on AI on ICP, and it's like ICP is the only chain where you can run AI. It's the only chain that you can use to store data. It's actually very cheap to store data. Like, the possibilities with ICP are endless. But maybe that's also a disadvantage, because EVMs have been out for a long time. People know what they can do, and basically all the main dApps on EVMs that you can do are already built. So whenever a new EVM comes out, people just fork a project like Aave or Uniswap or MakerDAO and deploy them on that new chain. So the thing is, like, EVM works very well for DeFi. It's proven that it works for DeFi. People know that it works for DeFi, so they just stuck to EVM. And on ICP, unfortunately, we see that the TVL, the total DeFi TVL, is very low. Last time I checked, it was around 50 million for a 5 billion market cap chain. So that's a huge potential right there. So in my opinion, the way we get DeFi to grow on ICP is we need a lending protocol, and we just deliver that. Lending protocols are the cornerstone of DeFi, in my opinion. If you look at other chains, they usually represent around 50 to 60% of the DeFi on a given chain. So that's massive. We don't have that. We already have a liquid staking protocol, which is amazing. The guys from Water Neuron, we already have DEXs. The other missing piece is really stablecoin. If there's no stablecoin, there's nothing you're probably going to borrow on lending protocols. You can't really use DEXs properly, because most of the time you are using a DEX, you probably want to change for stablecoins. You definitely need stablecoins, and right now it's great because we have stuff like Chain Fusion, USDC and USDT, but these are still at low market caps, and you still need to bring the liquidity from Ethereum to ICP. So in my view, there needs to be a native stablecoin on ICP, which like the guys from GoldDAO are working on, gold-backed stablecoin. We do have a stablecoin on our roadmap, which is going to be working like Go on Aave. And there are also some other projects working on that. So yeah, I believe that those are the main two things. We need lending and we need stable coins. That's how I see it.
Thank you very much, Gastão.
Yeah.
And what's your roadmap from here going forward?
Yeah, so we definitely have some features we want to implement. So as I said, we're going to do an airdrop. We're going to have our own token, and the time schedule for that token is end of Q1 2025, early Q2, so around March, April. That's our goal. So when we have our token, we're going to be a DAO. We're going to be decentralized, and whenever we want to add a new token or tweak the risk parameters for a given token, that is going to be decided totally by the community. It's not going to be by us. And this is great because it's not just that it's more democratic or whatever. It's actually much safer because you need to be careful when choosing the risk parameters. And if there's more people talking about it, it's probably going to be a better decision. That's one of the things. Also with our token, you'll be able to stake on our platform, get some yield on your token. You'll also be able to pay for gas in our own native token. You'll be able to get incentives in our own native token. So if there's a certain pool we want to boost, we'll give extra APY in our own tokens. So that's one of the things. Another thing is that we want to do a stablecoin, like I said. That's probably going to be a bit later on, maybe like in mid 2025, something around that, because we definitely want to have a lot of TVL backing the stablecoin. We don't want to rush that. It needs to be very safe. Another thing we want to do is we are building a canister that can control our smart contracts on Bitfinity, a canister on ICP, so that DAOs, like SNS DAOs that want to commit some of their treasury to our platform, they can do that just through the canister and then supply on our platform. Yeah, I would say those are the main ones. Oh yeah, I forgot one, which is automatic liquidation. So we also want to have a canister on ICP that basically is always checking if there are under collateralized positions, so it can do it directly and for much cheaper. Yeah, I would say those are the main pieces we have on our roadmap.
That's great. Yeah, so Gustavo, I wish you good luck, because what you're building is very important for the entire ICP ecosystem and in general for the Web3 and crypto space. And I'm gonna ask you, is there anything more you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna invite everyone that is on the ICP ecosystem to try us out. You know, like, this is something that if you're on other chains, you know the value of a lending protocol. You've probably used DeFi. You know how much you can use it to your benefit. So if you are on ICP and you are yearning for DeFi, really check us out. And also, even if you're not on ICP, even if you're used to EVM, come and try us out, because the great thing is that to use us, you don't really need to know a lot about ICP. You can use us with a MetaMask wallet. I mean, yeah, sure, you need to bridge your assets from ICP to Bitfinity, which is also on our roadmap to get that flow a little bit better. But I mean, if you do that, you are farming for an amazing airdrop. And even if you're not interested in ICP, can supply some stable coins, which we do need, and you're gonna help us out. So yeah, it's just an invitation for everyone to come check us out, come try us, and if you don't like us, which I'm sure you will, you can then go. But yeah, that's really it.
That's great. So join you not only to help you, but also to gain the API.
Yeah,
Why? It's the crazy API.
It's a win-win for everyone.
Right? Yeah. So, okay, Gastão, it was a very interesting conversation. Thank you very much. Again, I will leave the link to Lendfinity in the description so you can try the platform out, and also the social media links. So don't forget to follow Lendfinity also on Twitter and other social media like Medium. And yeah, I think that's all for today. Also, if you liked this content and you want more interviews with the ICP ecosystem, don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you in the next episode.